So hi everybody. So I have started my live streaming right away. Like it's a 10 at not a 10 actually. It's 8 o'clock almost. Like not almost 8 o'clock 13. How do I pronounce it? I exactly don't know because I need to look for that because I didn't have experience of pronouncing time like with respect to not with respect to with like minutes like 10 or 30. Okay, 10 or 30 or 10 or 10, 8 to 10, 8 to 10, something like that. But I'll try, I'll check it. Like there are lots of things that I don't know and I'm learning. That is basic purpose of my these videos, like live streaming and videos and channel. It's all related to growing myself in the sense I don't have to like learn and show those things like with perfect script and all those things because it's channel in itself is related to growing the things what you don't know, and after not knowing that you get to know about that by learning that thing. So this is how this channel is all about. Like so that is why like if I'm making any mistakes or doing something, like it's kind of, yeah, I'm learning here. I'm showing you that, oh, I don't know this thing, I'm learning it. I was not known about it, I learned it somehow. So this is all related to this. So I'm not gonna make any scripts and editing and all those things and will represent you. I'll show those videos as well, but it will take time because I don't know editing it, as well as there are lots of things that I don't know, like speaking, having good communication, as well as if you want to convey something, then you won't be able to convey exactly whatever you are thinking about the thing, like whatever you are feeling. The same way you can't generate or make another person feel in the same way because you're not that much good communicator. You're not making another person to think about the thing that you are also thinking. So this is how it all about. So I'm just learning all of this. First, like I'm doing live streamings every day for at least for 91 days. After that I'll still continue, but might be there will be so much improvement in me. So I don't know about it. So just because of that I'm doing these live streamings. I'm recording myself. I'm like learning the things. Like I was thinking something, let me check what I was thinking. I written it down because I do know about it that sometime what happens whenever I think something, and after a certain product time we don't remember, so I just write it down. Like when I was like doing something else, like I guess I don't know what exactly I was doing, but at that time I get the thought, but in my hand there was a mobile and I just started like taking a note. So quick note gesture. So this is the note that I have taken. Things related to how it is creating the content and yeah, using editing skills. Seems like these people know most of the things, but it's not like that. I also don't know the editing skill, but I am still creating the video without any editing, without anything. Okay, yeah. No, but I don't know that I am learning this. No, I don't know that. No, I'm learning the skills as well as so. No, so it is not keeping me back. Okay. And so what I'm trying to say here, like what I write it down, like basically, we think lots of time that, let's say if I created the video right now, and after creating the video, what I do basically, I check those videos and I found that it's not good. Oh, my background is not good. Oh, there is no editing. There is no like good voice. Like there are lots of things that goes into our mind, and just because of that, we drop an idea to upload that video. But what I thought, like this is not that like I started doing it very immediately when I got a thought, let's do live streaming or something like that. Now, like there were so many times I recorded myself, I deleted the video, I uploaded the video, I made them private, I again deleted the video. Likewise, I did so many times. It's been like long, like I guess it's been more than 5 years since then. I've been thinking to create a channel, and but I did create a channel, but I uploaded as well, but I was like afraid of that. Oh man, how I am looking. There is no good sound. There is no good editing. I'm not looking good in this video. See how is your clothing. See how is your background. See how is your like voice and all those things. I felt very bad about myself. I felt like kind of very shy, not shy actually, it's kind of social anxiety, that what if people are gonna judge me, what if people are gonna say anything about me, what if anyone who knows me see it, then what he's gonna think about me. Like there were so many things that was going into my mind today as well, like now as well. I get some of the things, but now I have that much confidence as well as courage nowadays, because I tried it again and again, and again, and somehow I started doing it. But you don't have to try it again and again. You don't have to waste your 5 years, because if you know something like immediate result, that even if you are going to try for 5 years, after 5 years you are going to do these things, so why you can't do it right away, why you are wasting your 5 years? So that is how you can do it right away. So basically what I was saying, that when I was thinking about my videos, when I was thinking about my complete video, like a voice, background and all those things, at the time I was feeling like very weird, very shyness, very anxiety, like anxious of my videos, that it's not good how I am going to be looking in camera, what people are gonna think, if people are gonna see it or not. But that was holding my growth like behind, because no one is gonna watch you, but you are the only one who is gonna watch, you are the only one who is gonna grow. If you are like started doing it after a certain period of time, let's say 1 month, or let's say at least 6 months, at least you are going to have good communication, at least you are going to learn editing skills. So there will be some of the things that you will get if you are going to do. If you are not going to do anything, then there will nothing be in your hand. So just because of that thought, I started doing it. And in the morning when I was scrolling reel, at the time I saw there were so many people who was having lots, like a greatest of the skills of editing. And because of that editing skill, their videos seems very fantastic, very good. So I felt that I don't have anything like that, I can't introduce all those things that people are doing, which makes another people or social people to watch your videos. I don't have anything like that. Even though I thought about myself, I think about myself that, oh okay, it's okay if I'm not gonna create a video today. Like if I'm going to think that, oh, I'm gonna learn skill, then after that I'm going to create a video and I will upload it. This same thing I've been thinking like for a long time, and nothing happened. I even didn't learn skill, editing skill, I didn't even learn my communication skill. Like there were lots of things that I didn't even get those, just because of one thought that if I'm going to get a good skill, editing skill, then I'm going to upload my videos and it will be like, oh man, like popular or viral. But it's not like that. You have to throw yourself on the things, then only things will work, otherwise it won't. If you are thinking you are going to get a good skills in editing, so it's kind of you can get, but it will take time if you are really consistent about that. But if you are not consistent, then oh, you are not gonna have anything in your hand, not even YouTube, not even your editing skill, nothing. So start doing it right away for yourself, so that you can grow. And you can also like work with me in the sense, whenever I am going live, at the time you can read if you like to read. But besides that, if you have something in your mind, let's say if you wanted to do exercise, you can try out creating or doing live stream. No one is going to watch you if you are going to create a live stream. Right now as well, no one is watching me, so but even though I'm talking, because it's very interesting, it's very fantastic when you talk to in front of people. Right now no one is there, but I feel personally that there are lots of people with whom I'm talking and I sharing my thoughts, and it makes me more feel confident, more like I can say it makes me feel good in a good manner. So that is why I started. And when you see your videos that you have completed 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, the series of days, then you will be able to see yourself that, oh man, you are throwing yourself on the things, you are having, then like you feel like fantastic. So that is how it works. And why I started saying all those things, because there was one thought or there was one sentence that I have written in my like notes, so that I can speak about it. So whenever I'm going to start my live streaming, I'll be having something in the starting, then only I'll start the reading, because it makes me feel good. And sorry for this interruption, because if you really wanted to only read, then we can read. I'll start reading like within while, like within soon, within a while, like whatever it is. And yeah, that's how it works. Let me check my live streaming if is there anyone or not. There is one person, I don't know who is it, but he is very consistent, and since 10 minutes he's watching. Whoever is it, please do comment so that I can know who is watching it. Sorry for my cough and cold. It's like very consistent for me because nowadays it's winter and it's very obvious for me to get that like cold and cough. I'm really sorry for this noise because I know it's irritating, but yeah, that is how it is. So whoever is watching, thank you very much for watching, being with me. That's very awesome. Now I'll start my reading. So it's our sixth day, and it's a very awesome day today that I started doing my live streaming, which is sixth day. You know, sometimes it's like you will feel that you don't have to do things, but because of your commitment, you think about yourself that you have to do it. So again, I would like to suggest one thing, that please commit yourself for something in social, in group of people, wherever you feel comfortable. You can create your own streams, or you can create your own videos. There you can post yourself so that you'll be able to thrive yourself every day. I don't know the meaning of thrive, but I heard it somewhere. So it's kind of like giving your time, not giving actually, it's like making yourself to do the things, thrive yourself on the things. Then definitely you'll be able to like achieve whatever you wanted to have you in your life, or at least you'll be having growth in your life. That is how like the thing will work, or it will work like that. So like in the morning when I was like waked up, like I waked up around 6:30 or something like that. And after that, like I was not feeling good in the sense I was feeling something which everybody feels, like it's kind of procrastinating or something like that. I was not procrastinating, but there is one feeling, I can't explain it, but it makes us feel like we don't have to do the things. Even though I ignored that feeling and like started doing my like stuffs. After finishing my stuff, I like started my live streaming because I was known about that if I'm not gonna do my live stream, then it will be like I'm breaking my commitment, and it's not good if I'm going to break commitment. It's all like in front of people who is gonna watch me. Like I have said lots of things about myself that I'm gonna do this, that, and if I'm going to stop myself like in the middle of the live streaming, not a live stream like challenge, then it's not good. People will not like me. It's an obvious thing. Like my thoughts I'm gonna get into my mind. It's like I'm not I don't keep my promise of words or something like that. So I made myself doing it again, and I do know about it that until and like not until and unless like I'll be doing this live stream for 91 days. I will do it, definitely. I'll do it wherever I am. Like right now, I don't have electricity, but still, I'm doing it. If I didn't get time in the morning, I will do it in the afternoon because of some circumstances. Let's say if I went somewhere or if something emergency or something like that, I'll try myself to do live streaming. That is how I will be like disciplined about my live streaming. Because there is one more thing that I already told you, that I have been reading 3 hours of book every day. So it's been almost like 91 days. Let me check how many days is it. Like it's been 28 days, almost completed. Now today's day is 29, so I'll also complete that. I started doing that because I have just two goals simultaneously: doing live streaming, reading book, so both of them getting completed at the same time. So that is how like it is. So let me start now because I have been talking since like I guess 15 minutes. And yes, it's been 15 minutes almost. Now I'll start reading. So let's start, and whatever I get into my mind I'll share with you, like whatever it is, because sometimes our brain works very well in the sense there are lots of things that comes into our mind which is very useful. If we note it and we like implemented those things, then definitely it really works. We get ourselves ahead of other people, so that is how it works. So let me start reading it again. I'm really sorry for it. Directing his attention to a new area on the rim of one more thing that, see, like as I told you, there will be lots of things that will come into my mind. I was thinking that right now I'm uploading as it is, like I saw yesterday that there is one option to cut your live streamings, like wherever you don't feel it's good, you can cut those live streaming part, and you can have like your good part. I'm sorry for it. So I'll also work on that, but it's completely like on Saturday, Sunday. I'm just taking it note down. Sorry for interruption in between. Just one minute. And sorry for this interruption. I'm not gonna take any notes in between because it takes too much time. If I really wanted to have something, then I'll watch my videos and I'll take from that note if I don't remember the things. So again, I'm really sorry for this interruption. And let me start reading from now. 17 minutes. Now there was someone who like literally saw me 17 minutes, so that's good. Directing his attention to new area on the rim of his wheels of awareness, sitting at the hub of the wheel, he could focus on the various sensations from his body, locating areas of tension or relaxation and noting mental distractions while moving at will within this sixth sense sector of the rim. Next, I taught Jonathan a walking meditation, 20 slow paces across the room, with the focus of attention on the soles of his feet or lower legs. Same approach when he noticed that his mind had pulled his attention away from the target. He simply focused. Now, these practices continue to build the aim and sustain function of observation, but they also bear an entree into objectivity. The focal point of attention changed with each practice, but the sensation of awareness remained the same. Awareness itself was becoming an expanded presence in his internal world. Here is an entry Jonathan shared with me from his journal around this time. Amazing realization. I can feel this change. My thoughts and feelings come up, something big, sometimes bad, but they used to feel like who I was, and now they are becoming more like an experience I'm having, not who I am. They don't define who I am. Another entry described an incident when he was upset with his brother. I just not really mad, but then took myself outside for a walk. I was in the yard, and in the back of my head, I could almost feel this split. Something like a part of me that could see, and a part that could get lost in the feeling. It was really weird. I watched my breath, but I'm not sure what did much. No, that did much. Sometimes later I just seemed to calm down. It was as if I didn't take my own feelings so seriously. During his home practice, Jonathan was alternating among breath awareness, a body scan, and a walking meditation. But now his initial sense of frustration returned in a new form. He reported one day that he would get a huge headache, a kind of voice that kept telling him what he ought to feel, what he should be doing, that he was doing his meditation all wrong, that he was no good. All of these judgments were activities of his mind. I said and I reassured him that he was certainly not alone. Many of us have a judging voice that critiques our process. But the next step in his growth would require him to stop being a slave to that voice. I felt this was a challenge that Jonathan was now ready to confront confront. Observation had enabled Jonathan to focus on the nature of intention and attention, the driving forces of mental life. Objectivity permitted him to distinguish awareness from mental activity, to further free his identity from the storms of his mental sea. But now that stormy REM activity was creeping back into his hub in the form of the shoots of expectations. These are the prisons of life, trying to change how we actually feel by ordering ourselves to do so. Is a strategy that goes nowhere. Fast open awareness is about accepting what is and not being swept up by those judging activities. Now, does this seem ironic? Jonathan comes to me to try to change, and now I am encouraging him to accept himself as he is. Now, but here is the distinction. Now, our effort to the combat, our actual experience creates internal tension, a kind of self-inflicted distress. But rather than much march into our inner world and say no, don't do that. We can embrace what is and notice what happens. Now, amazingly, the time after time, people discover that letting things be also allows them to change. We can approach our inner world with openness and acceptance rather than with judgments and preconceptions. Consider these. If a friend came to you with some difficulties, you would probably listen to her first, invite her to bring up whatever came to mind, and offer her an open heart and a shoulder where she could lean on. This is what openness entails. Attuning to what is, being kind and supportive to ourselves, letting our state be receptive rather than reactive. I'm really sorry for this again. My average view duration, I don't know why is it getting like increased. It's 23 minutes. If is there anyone who is watching it, just please do comment or chat so that I can understand. Jonathan, however, had not yet learned to be kind to himself. He would be focusing on his breath, for example, and he got distracted by some memory of last weekend. Some concern about schoolwork or thoughts about a fight with a friend. Then he would get the sense in his head that he was not meditating right and that he was not a good meditator. Now, I suggested to Jonathan that these harsh self-criticism were just another mental activity for him to notice. They were judging thoughts. I told him, and when they came up, he could try simply labeling them, judging, and then bring his attention away from them and back to his breath. Jonathan decided to prefer using the label doubting, to remind himself of the undermining nature of these distracting thoughts. So what here is explained, the Jonathan who is like trying to meditate, but somehow he's getting some negative thoughts, and just because of that he's getting very distracted. He's not able to concentrate. He's not able to like achieve whatever he wanted to achieve. So like Arthur has suggested that if you get something like that, if you get thoughts like self-criticism or which is negative, you can label them in the sense like if I'm thinking about myself like mm, I don't want to say any negative thing about me, even it's an example, but it's really affecting us in our subconscious mind, because our subconscious mind don't know what is right or what is bad or whatever it is. It just take as it is what it hears. So just because of that, I'm not preferring to say any negative words. But let's say here, let's take example of Jonathan here itself. So he was saying that he is not good at meditating, he don't know how to do meditating. So just to make just to feel not feel just to not have those kind of like thoughts, he started labeling it. Let's say if he's getting some thoughts like he's not good at meditating, at the time he can label it, oh, it is just a doubting like kind of thing he's like doing. So just because of that, he is separating himself from that thought. He is not a part of that. He's not making his identity just because of that thought. So that is how like he's working on itself. Likewise, we can also work on ourselves. Let's say if you are getting any negative thoughts or self-criticism thoughts, then you can label it. You can say that, oh, it's just a thought, it's just the thing that you are getting into your mind. You're not that, you don't have to think about that, you just have to work whatever you are working on. The quality of openness is the third period. Oh, sometimes what happens, I just started reading after like saying the things, but yeah, that's how it is. Let me read it again. One more thing that I came into my mind right away is that right now the videos is not good, but after a certain period of time it will be good, because I do know about what I'm going to do. Like right now I'm doing lots of things. I'll see like on Saturday Sunday I will completely work on my videos. Let's remain that where I mistaken, where I said these, what I have to do, what I don't have to do, what skills of editing I have to learn for particular for this time, not for like whole. Like let's say if my background is not good in like live streaming, how can I make my background blur? Likewise, I'll learn that skill and implement that. This is how it will work. Oh, that's amazing. I say it again and again that this is how it will works. But yeah, this is how it will works. The quality of openness. One more thing. Sorry, that I'm going to read in a slow pace so that everybody can understand, and me myself should understand it. I can also like understand in fast speeding, but when you form the sentence at the time, you know the exact sentence or you know what you are trying to say. The quality of openness is the third tripod, like stabilizing our mindset lens. It means that instead of being swept up by shoots, we come to accept ourselves and our experiences, but to get to this place of inner attunement, of internal acceptance, we must first become aware of when we are our own wardens. Wardens. A stabilized mind. Jonathan noticed on the changes that were emerging. He would go for a run or ride a bike during stormy times, trying to find some way out of the mood that seemed to take him over. These rhythmic physical activities helped him to calm his body, to get grounded in his awareness, and to bring himself back into balance. As the weeks unfolded, Jonathan described a new experience. He began to sense his raging thoughts, and intense emotional storms with more clarity. Seeing them, but somehow not becoming swept up by them. What surprised him and thrilled his parents, what was that he seemed to find a new way to actually calm the storms. That this is what Jonathan wrote in a journal entry one night. I had a fight with my mom this afternoon and I went to my room before dinner. I thought of killing myself. There it is again. Yeah, this will never get better. Just when I think things are changing, they stay the same. I was late coming home from school and she just laid into me. She was so angry. I sat in my bed and just thought, what's the point? But then the feeling of being absolutely helpless seemed to float in my head like a raft or a boat, some kind of log, something. But instead of the usual feeling of being on the boat floating away, I was somewhere else. I could see that the raft was just a feeling, just the feeling of me not being able to do anything to get out of these. And what was really weird was that once I let the boat just be there, kind of in my head, but separate from me, not being on it, it didn't make me feel so bad. Then when I looked at it straight on, like just some kind of helplessness, it just disappeared. In the session that day, Jonathan and I spoke about how this experience of the boat led him see that in fact he did not have to just float aimlessly on that feeling of despair. He had learned that he could do something to prevent being ambushed.
Ambushed.
ambushed ambushed by his feelings. Jonathan also learned that just observing his own inner world with acceptance had a strong soothing effect on his distress. He told me that he began to notice he could soften the violence of his thoughts and feelings by looking directly at them and not running from them. So why here it is explained. So like why I'm telling this, because I felt it really good thing and I also experienced some of the time, like literally I have experienced it, I guess, because when I do remember of my past experiences at the time, I feel like yeah, I do experienced this same kind of feeling as well, like Jonathan. So Jonathan was feeling very sad, very bad about his life, like what all the things happened into his life at that particular time. Like his mother scolded on him just because he came back to home very late, and he was feeling like killing himself. Like likewise thoughts there were coming into his minds, but he was watching his thoughts, he was observing his thoughts, and after watching, seeing, observing, he felt like it's just a thought, it's nothing more. And he made himself to separate from that thoughts, and just because of that, he he was able to like see himself that oh, everything is fine, he can like handle it very easily. So it happens, we can also do the same thing. If you are in feelings, some feelings like angerness or sadness or some kind of feelings, you can like separate yourself from those feelings just by observing it, just by like seeing it as from outside of yourself, watching it like as another person. Then you'll get to know that it's just a feeling and you will avoid to have that. After a certain period of time you'll feel good because it's just a feeling. So this is how it really works for everyone, I guess, but I don't know about everyone. For now, I don't know about myself. I also sometimes feel anything, and if I've heard something like that, then I observe myself and see myself like this, that it's just a feeling and nothing happens to me. Everything seems like fine, and I started doing my own work, whatever I've been doing. So that's how it works. One thing I really don't know why my average view duration is getting increased. Like it's 34 minutes now, as same like when I started my live streaming. So I don't understand why is it so. If is there anyone watching or not? But even if he's watching, they should show here concurrent views or something. I'm not getting any views or something here. But I don't know how is it getting like 34 average view duration. So that's good, but there should be someone who needs to join or like being with me asking questions. Like there will be lots of things that come into our mind when we discuss the things, but it's just starting after a certain period of time. I'm down, like I don't know about people are gonna see it. Why people don't see it right now? Because let's say if you don't know about something and that is very useful for you, how you are gonna use that if you don't know about it? That's how it is. People don't know about my live streaming right away. If people do know about my live streaming right away, then they are gonna join because everybody is looking for something. Like I was also who was looking for someone with whom I can grow, but I didn't get. I got it, but it's kind of not like my comfort, not a comfort net. I can say like it's not of my type or what I really wanted to have. It was not like that. So that is why like it was no. But here, if someone is watching me and who really felt that like they wanted to grow and whatever I'm doing that will help them as well, so definitely they are gonna like subscribe, like or watch. Like it depends on the things, but right away like YouTube hasn't shown my videos to lots of people, and from those lots of people there will be some of the people who really wanted to grow, who really wanted to be like follow the things like me. Then definitely they are gonna join me. This is how it works. This is how everything works. Right away YouTube don't show yourself lots of people. That is how like it is not getting shown. So saying this thing just to myself so that I can remember that this is how it works, and after a certain period of time you'll get it. And yeah, it works like that. Like let's say if I'm going to show these videos for Indians, all Indians, then definitely there will be some of the people who like it and will follow it. That is how it works. Why I'm saying that is how it works, that is how it works. But there is one more thing, that I'm not making any filler words nowadays. No, not nowadays, today. Like I felt it personally that I don't have much filler words in my conversation or while reading. I don't have any filler words. Any months there could be some of the filler words, but like when I'm concentrating on myself at the time, I'm not noticing any filler words. Otherwise I would have noticed it. Oh, see man, I'm getting any filler words and I don't have to do it like in front of you. So it's the thing. Yeah, I'm making another words like see right now like I'm making another words like any other words like this is how it is working. It is working. And yeah, I'm very happy because I'm trying me on this YouTube streaming. I don't know exactly what do we call it, try or what it is, but yeah, this is the thing. Later on, Jonathan, oh, we were reading here them. Understanding that he could actually reverse the flow of his feelings and thoughts gave him wonderfully positive feedback about his own abilities. In many ways, Jonathan's experiences echoed the research finding that people with mindful awareness training have a shift in their brains toward an approach state that allows them to move toward rather than away from challenging situations. This is the brain's signature of resilience. Later on, Jonathan wrote, I know this sounds lame, but my view of life is changed now. What before I thought was my identity, I now realize it's just an experience. And being filled with the big feelings is just some way my brain gives me experiences, but they don't have to say who I am. I was moved by his discoveries and in awe. I'll check this. Its pronunciation. Awe, 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 awe. Ah, ah, ah. There is one more thing I learned. I learned to speak by seeing you, to see in a camera. Right now it's camera, but I can feel there are people who are watching me and I'm talking to them just like a video call. Earlier, what I was thinking, I don't look directly into the camera. I see here, I see there, I do these, I do that. But now it's quite bit good than earlier. I am speaking in front of you. I'm speaking like kind of good than before, and I see in the camera itself. I don't do like these, like these, like this. There were so many times I were doing it. I noticed myself. I see myself, and my light came back. I have to just turn on. Just give me a minute. turn on the camera, not the camera exactly. I have to turn on two things. That is the thing. Sorry for interruption. I turn on and might be my video is looking good for now. There was one more thing that I wanted to turn on, but I didn't turn on. If you give one more minute, I'll turn it on. That is, I turn on. And I'm really sorry for interruption in between, but I have to do it because doing it worth it. Now one more minute I need from you, that I have to set up my monitor because it will make me read good. So again, sorry for it. This is the things, this is me, and this is my monitor, and I'm gonna pick this up and put it here so that you'll be able to see me. I'm gonna have this here. No. Oh man, it will take time, I guess. No, it will not take time. Just one more minute. After that, I'll be okay to do this. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna select this screen. Just one more minute. And this is the one that I have to show. No, this is the one. That's it. Okay. And I'm going to set this up as well. I'm doing it on live streaming. Sorry for it, but yeah, this is how it works, I guess. Might be my light will goes off again, so sorry for that as well, because it happens a lot of time here. Lots of time it happens, and I'm good now, I guess. Yeah, I'm good. It's way better now. Now I'll drag these. There's one more thing that I have to bring up. It just take 4 to 5 minutes. And again, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna drag here. This will work now. I can see my concurrent viewers. Now I can see it very well. Jonathan noticed where we read these this quality, judging. Let's read from here. Might be I missed this number. Let me start reading from here itself again. I want to see if there is anyone or not. There is no one who is watching it, but seriously, it's good. And I'm gonna see nothing now. Oh, now nothing gonna be seen. Okay, let me start reading it. Jonathan noticed the changes that were emerging. He would go for a run on a ride or ride a bike during stormy time, and trying to find some way out of the mood that seemed to take him over. These rhythmic physical activities helped him to calm his body, to get grounded in his awareness, and to bring himself back into balance. As the weeks unfolded, Jonathan described a new experience. He began to sense his raging thoughts and intense emotions storms with more clarity, seeing them but somehow not becoming swept up by them. What surprised him and thrilled his parents was that he seemed to find a new way to actually calm the storms. Okay, so here what it is just trying to explain is that just because of his activity, like he's able to thrive on his thoughts basically, like he's doing exercise, he's doing most of the thing and just because of that he's able to handle his emotions very well, because he's able to see his emotion what it is and he's just thinking about them as emotions. Just because of that it's very easy for him to not go into that, not swept by that, swept by in the sense like if I, like I don't know exact meaning but I can sense it, I can feel what does it mean. Like swept up by means like some.
Swept up.
Oh, I was about to see its meaning. The term upswept. It's kind of that like. This is what Jonathan wrote in journal entry one night. I had a fight with my mom this afternoon. I went to my room before dinner. I thought of killing myself. There it is again. This will never get better. Just when I think things are changing, they stay the same. I was late coming home from school and she just laid into me. She was so angry. I sat in my bed and just thought, what's the point? But then the feeling of being absolutely helpless seemed to float in my head like a raft or a boat, some kind of log or something. But instead of the usual feeling of being on that boat floating away, I was somewhere else. I could see that the raft was just a feeling, just the feeling of me not being able to do anything to get out of these. And what was really weird was that once I let the boat just be there, kind of in my head, but separate from me, not being on it, it didn't make me feel so bad. Then when I looked at straight on, like just some kind of helplessness, it just disappeared. In the session that day, Jonathan and I spoke about how this experience of the bat let him see that in fact he did not have to just float aimlessly on that feeling of despair. He had learned that he could do something to prevent being ambushed by his feelings. As we earlier read this as well, I read it again, so it's okay. But or it is just trying to say the same thing, like you have to separate yourself from your thoughts so that you can feel good or you don't feel any. Echoed the research finding that people with mindful awareness training have a shift in their brains toward an approach state that allows them to move toward rather than away from challenging situation. This is the brain signature of resilience. Resilience. Yeah, later on, Jonathan wrote, I know this sounds lame, but my view of life is changed now. What before I thought was my identity, and I now realize it's just an experience. And being filled with big feelings is just some way my brain gives me experiences, but they don't have to say who I am. So as you know, we everybody thoughts about the things, but as of now, I get to know that people who thinks about the things, they think that they, whatever they think like that. But it's not like that. They don't have to take everything as it is. They have to like keep themselves away from likewise thoughts. Like they can, let's say if you're thinking something negative, that doesn't mean that that's you are you can like you'll be like another person, not you will be another person, but you are not that. Whatever you're thinking right away which is negative, you can separate yourself from that particular thing so that you won't be able to feel any bad things or you won't be able to hold yourself back. This is how it works. This is how it works. My words coming again, that's not good. I was moved by his discoveries and in awe of his ability to articulate such deep insights. Now we had to see how he could refine this newly enriched monitoring ability to begin to alter the way energy and information were flowing in his internal world, to stop his mind from being flooded with those big feelings in the first place. Having already learned how to use self-observational skills to see his internal storms, he was now ready to learn techniques that would enable him to do something about them. I next taught Jonathan basic relaxation skills, inviting him to imagine a peaceful place from his memory or imagination that he could evoke at times of distress. We practice we practice this imagery in the safety of the office and combine it with the grounding feeling he would get by just noticing his body in the chair or sensing his breath. This relaxation and internal imagery techniques would provide him with some readily accessible ways of calming himself. Over time, Jonathan learned to ward off an impending low road meltdown by noticing his change in bodily state, his pounding heart, churning belly, tense fists, and then the very act of noticing would soothe him. Jonathan was experiencing the power of a stabilized awareness of the mind to achieve mental equilibrium. In our session, as the months unfolded, Jonathan became more and more confident of his ability to look inward and then to change what was going on. In his journal, he wrote, I am beginning to see how my own way of paying attention to my feeling changes what they do to me. They used to explode and last for hours. Now, after a few minutes, I can see how they can crash around, and then, as I don't take them so personally, they just melt away. It's strange, but I'm starting to believe in myself. Maybe for the first time, change required the ability to accept what was there and have the strength to let it be. Until his mind became stable again, he and I both knew how hard this road had been for him. The storms of his life had been a huge challenge, but they also provided the motivation for him to find a way to create a harbor of safety in his own mind. What had changed for Jonathan? What I'll try to do here, I'll try to read like if I'm talking these, like having good pause, making some sentence very good way, in a good way. That is how it will make more interesting to listen. Yesterday when I was listening my video, at the time I felt like it's just reading. It is not more than reading. I want to make it more than reading, in the sense, like if I'm talking with you, that is how I want to read it. I'll try to do it. I'll try to do it now. Like, let's say what had changed for Jonathan. What had changed for Jonathan? We don't have the brain scans to say for sure from a neural point of view. But what I picture is that over these hard-working months of twice weekly sessions and essentially daily awareness practice and aerobic exercise, Jonathan was growing his middle prefrontal integrative fiber. His new way of focusing his attention, of integrating his consciousness, would have been made possible by his middle prefrontal areas expanding their connections and beginning to grow. The GBA inhibited fiber that could calm his subcortical storms. I need to change here one more thing. That is the thing. Where is my. Oh man. I want to change my profile, but I'm not getting. Might be just because of that I have shared my screen, so because I'm afraid if someone calls, then like my camera will turn off. So just because of that, I have to like make my profile as working so that people can understand. Isn't? Yeah, isn't it? expanding their connections and beginning to grow. No, the GABA inhibitory fibers that could calm his subcortical storms. The GABA, GABA, could then soothe his irritable limbic amygdala so that it didn't recruit his brainstem areas into the fight freeze routine that had been driving Jonathan mad. He was also likely moving more toward a left shift brain state of approach. With his new integration, Jonathan was learning how to coordinate and balance the firing of his brain in a new and more adaptive ways. He could now sit in the sanctuary of his newfound awareness without being swept up by the mental activities that used to overwhelm him. This mental training was more than just a way to alleviate his roller coaster symptoms. It was a way for Jonathan to become more resilient and more himself. I am feeling almost like a different person, like I am stronger now. I don't want to say this too much to jinx it, but I feel really good, really clear. By 6 months into our work together, most of Jonathan's symptoms of emotional turmoil appeared to have dissipated. Sitting with him in the room had a different feeling. He seemed no more at ease, clear, light-hearted. He seemed more comfortable in his own skin. I just don't take all those feelings and thoughts so seriously, and they don't take me on such a wild ride anymore. Now we continued to work on his practice and solidified his newfound skills. On our last visit, after a year of therapy, Jonathan stood up to shake my hand, and I saw again that sparkle in his eyes that had so often been hidden behind a mask of anguish and fear. Now his gaze was clear, his face at ease, and his handshake confident and strong and his handshake confident and strong. He must have grown at least 3 inches since he first stepped into my office. What felt like ages ago. After high school, Jonathan moved on to attend college out of town. It's now years later, and I recently ran into Jonathan's parent at a neighborhood store. They told me that he is doing great and has not had a recurrence of his roller coaster mind. He is studying film and psychology. Let's start reading six. So like whatever I read, it's all related to thoughts. Our thoughts, like whatever we think, we don't have to like force ourselves that we shouldn't think of those things, because it's natural that we are gonna get most of the thing in our mind. So it doesn't mean that we have to actively concentrate on those. We can just side them in the sense you can concentrate on your own things, let it float into your mind, it will not distract you. This is how I learned. And yeah, besides that, I really read today very goodly. Like I read heavy to write when I see in videos, but when I read at the time, how much I'm getting into my mind, that depends like how I am reading. So today I felt like yes, I'm reading very well. I felt very good about it because whatever I read, I got those things. I will implement as well those things. So yeah, that's how it works. Working. This is my last sentence. No, last actually. Whatever I finish, I just said that this is how it works. And I am like sleeping on my chair. It's not good in front of people. I don't understand why my average duration is being increased even though people are not watching the videos or a video. Hmm. Half a brain in a hiding balancing left and right. Stuart had just celebrated his 92nd birthday. 92nd birthday. Oh man. When his son brought him to see me. I've never needed a shrink, and I certainly don't need one now, he announced as he refused his son's arm and walked with deliberate steps into my office. Stuart didn't look a day over 70. He was a handsome man, clean shaven, with a head full of grey, wavy hair combed neatly just over his ears. I'm here because of my son, he added. It's a stupid idea, but he thinks I need help. Randy had told me on the phone that his father was depressed. He would read a newspaper article about depression in the elderly, and he would conclude that Stuart's depression had been triggered when Randy's mother, Adrienne, let me check its pronunciation. What do we call this name in English?
Adrian.
Adrian. Randy's mother, Adrian, was hospitalized for pneumonia 6 months earlier. Stuart and Adrian had been married for 62 years, and after she returned home, Stuart had become, in Randy's words, a basket case. He would stopped going into his old law firm several times a week. He had stopped he had stopped going for walks and seeing friends. He had stopped calling Randy or his brother on the phone. And although he had never been very involved with his grandchildren, he was now even more remote. At family events, he would sit off to one side reading a newspaper or watching the news. Even at home with Adrian, Stuart appeared uninterested and withdrawn, but as Stuart and I began to talk after Randy stepped out, what first struck me was not so much depression as a kind of emptiness. Stuart did seem flat. Stuart did seem flat. His tone of voice lacked variation and his face lacked expression. He narrated the details of the last 6 months as if they were from some television show that happened to be on when he was waiting for the news. He was energized and alert, but seemed distant and dispassionate. I looked into Stuart's eyes, searching my own feelings and sensation for some mirrored sense of what might be going on in him. As I have discussed, we use our whole body as our mindsight. Eyes, and I was conscious primarily of a dulled, bland sense of something missing. You have probably noticed that when you are with someone who is depressed, you begin to feel down yourself, heavy, sad, distant, and alone. But with Stuart, at first I felt nothing, and then I picked up a vague sense of fear, a hidden apprehension. Was this my own fear of meeting someone in his 90s whom I might not be able to help? Who, in fact, had just declared I could not? Was I simply projecting my own fear of getting older, of illness or loss? Or was this, in fact, my resonance circuitry accurately reflecting something going on in Stuart? After a few minutes, he seemed to settle into his chair and feel more comfortable just being there as we chatted. I found out more about Stuart's life, his work as an intellectual property lawyer, his favorite football and basketball teams, his educational history, and how he met Adrian. He had retired just 10 years earlier from his partnership at a local law firm, and he told me that he would continue to he had continued to consult on cases there, enjoying his status as the voice elder. He had gone in to meeting even while Adrian was in the hospital, but now he acknowledged he was staying home and reading a lot. Other than that, things were fine. As he spoke, I watched for signs of early dementia and found none. Stuart's memory, his attention, his orientation to reality all seemed intact. Then I asked him how he would felt how he had felt when Adrian was ill. I know this does not sound correct, he replied. But to tell you the truth, I didn't particularly worry. She had the best doctors, and they said she was going to be fine. He went on. He went on. Even when one of my law partners was diagnosed with lymphoma,
Lymphoma.
With lymphoma, I felt nothing. People get sick, they die. That's it. I know I should feel something about it, but I just don't. Stuart saying that it didn't sound correct caught my attention. Somehow he realized that his reactions were not quite normal, and he seemed to be reaching for a category, correct or incorrect, to understand them. Maybe I could align myself with that awareness, that curiosity about other possibilities for feelings. Feeling. I wondered what had led him to be so stuck and disconnected, and what we could do about it. Near the end of the session, I asked Randy to join us again in my office. Both Stuart and his son agreed that he had always had an even keel temperament.
Temperament.
Temperament. They acknowledged his fastings,
Feistiness.
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 They acknowledged his feistiness and the no nonsense way he told people what he thought, but neither of them recalled a time when Stewart had truly lost his temper. My life is going good or not, I don't like see correctly because I'm seeing it very weird things today. Like views is zero, even though I'm seeing two views here, but I don't know why is it so working. I got connected to the my fiber, but even though like okay, let it be as it is because I don't know what is going into this here. Like I can see. Okay, let it be. Fastiness and no nonsense. The way he told people what he thought, but neither of them recalled a time when Stuart had truly lost his temper, nor were there any extended periods when he had been sullen,
Sullen.
sullen, sullen, and moody, or in contrast, elated. All in all, as Randy put it, Stuart had been the rock of Gibraltar in everyone's life. Thought Stuart didn't respond to this. The glimmer in his eyes gave me the sense that he cared deeply about his son. It also gave me hope that I could help him, and I was relieved when he agreed to return for a few sessions. I'm not able to understand that here it's going very light. Like there could be something missing or something is going very crazy. Just because of that, I'm not able to like see. Oh, it's getting light. That is what it is. I don't know what it is, but it's. I'm just trying to understand if my life is going good or not. I have to check after like ending my live streaming, but this is how it is. It is right away, and it's been like one. I'm sorry for my yawning. You are also gonna get yawning if you are like watching because of our like as circuitry neuron get fired. I hope that I could help him, and I was relieved when he agreed to return for a few sessions from past to present. Stuart did come back as prickly as ever. When I started to ask him for a recollection of his childhood, he told me I was being ridiculous. Didn't I realize, he said, that at 92, his childhood was certainly a moot point. Why go into that now? Now, I knew you therapists were out of your minds. I felt like saying objection over ruled. No, but I restrained myself. Humor can be an important way to connect, and it may even stimulate neuroplasticity, but it didn't seem right at this moment. Instead, I told him that to get into his mind, it would, in scientific fact, be useful to review his recollection of his past. You may imagine, Stuart, the attorney's response. I don't need help, so that is irrelevant. I use my interview questions for two purposes. Now, one is to obtain details of person's life events. The second is to get a sense of how the story is told. I was looking for development challenges to which he needed to adapt, such as losses or trauma. Our personality emerges as our inborn, often genetically influenced temperament. Such as shyness or moodiness, interact with our parents, peers, and teachers, and with our experiences at home and at school, random events in the home in our early years, even later, also contribute in unpredictable ways to how we develop. We adapt to all that we are given and to all that we encounter. We know nothing else. We do the best we can, and our sense of self emerges in a dance among innate characteristics, adaptations to experience, and just plain chance. Now, once I got Stuart talking, his memory was excellent for detail about the town where he grew up, the games he played as a child, the make and model of his first car, and even the historic and political events of the time. But when it came to my questions about his early family life or any family life, his response were consistently vague. My mother was normal. She ran the home. My father worked. I think my brother and I were fine. Now, to a question about how his family life affected his development, Stewart responded, it didn't. My parents gave me a good education. Now, what's the next question? Now, Stewart insisted that his childhood was fine, even though he said that he did not remember the details of his relationships with his parents or two brothers. He insisted that he just didn't recall what they had done at home, what life felt like for him as a youngster. The detail he gave me sounded like facts, not like lived experience. This was true even when he told me that he had been with his brother during a bad skiing accident, which had resulted in the loss of his brother's leg. His brother had recovered and was fine. This challenging session gave me some important information. Stuart's journalized recollections, his lack of recall for family experiences, his insistence that these relationships did not impact his life, are all classic findings of a certain kind of autobiographical narrative that I had been studying for years. A vast amount of research suggests that such a narrative develops from being raised in a home where emotional warmth is absent. Now, this was confirmed when Adrian came in with Stuart the following week. She said Stuart's parents were the coldest people she had ever met on the planet. planet. Now you just can't imagine why people would be so odd, so frozen, so uncaring. Poor to At 83, Adrienne herself was in a great form, and she looked at Stuart with pride and affection. When she turned to me, she said that she hoped I could help him break out of his shell.
Adrian's.
Adrian's, Adrian's, Adrian's comments reinforced my impression that while Stuart had become even more removed since her pneumonia, he had always been emotionally distant. But something had happened to him when Adrian,
Adrian.
Adrian, when Adrian was hospitalized, something that hit him in a way he couldn't or wouldn't discuss. He seemed to Adrian, Adrian. I'll check one more time.
Adrian.
Adrian, to have lost interest in their life together, actively withdrawing to his world of history, books and law journals. She said that she hoped the therapy could make him happier. Stewart remarked that he didn't know exactly what that meant, but he felt that his wife deserved to have a better companion in their retirement. He agreed to continue therapy for 3 or 4 months to see what he and I could do together. That's very amazing related to Stuart. I'm able to understand Adrian. I was trying to pronounce that Adrian as correctly as possible. Adrian. No, that is why I was saying it again and again. Adrian. I'm saying it again and again. Besides that, there is one more thing that I have to say is related to my reading. When I'm reading, I'm getting the things now. I don't know. I'm feeling good about it. I don't have to look for my time. How much time is it? I have to complete my 2 hours. Likewise, yesterday or day before yesterday or in previous live streamings, I was thinking that I have to complete my 2 hours and I have to end this live streaming. But right now, I'm feeling very good. I like to read here. I'm very enjoying reading it. I'm getting whatever I'm reading. Like literally, earlier I was thinking so much thing in my mind, but now it's more towards reading and concentrating on the things that I'm reading and I'm getting into my mind. And there is one more thing, I'm speaking very well as well. I don't have to have any filler words or think the things that I have to say after completing this sentence. This all is coming automatically. I don't know how is it coming, but it's very interesting that it's improving and I'm feeling very good about it. So I would really suggest you as well, try giving yourself time, have some challenges, commit yourself so that you'll also grow. You can read, you can exercise, or you can do the task what you have to complete. Just commit for that particular task, particular activities, and you'll feel yourself that you are doing it again and again every day. And after completing those activities, if you recorded those activities, as I have already told you that my light can turn off anytime, and it happened that it gets off, and right now I can see my whole screen. I don't know how is it working. It's literally different experience. No, it's started working again the same way. I'll try to figure out the ratio of screens so that it should be good. I'll keep this as it is. You'll be able to see me here. I can make it small again. But that is the thing. I'm reading it like this because I don't have to read like these. I can read like this here. Should I flip my camera and all those things? So yeah, I can flip the camera because I'm not looking good from here. I'll take it here so that you'll be able to see me. Or I can keep it back so that you'll be able to see me. And as you are able to see me. I'll I have ordered one of tripod and see my light came back, and it's very frustrating when I'm trying to do live streaming. It is just disturbing me, but it's okay. Sometimes we have to try on the things that don't work. We have to make it work, and we don't have to feel very embarrassed just because of that, because it's not in our hands, so why should we care about it? It's let it do their work. I'll do my work. I will concentrate on my things, and then only it will work a good way. Otherwise it won't. Isn't? So I have to just update my properties. There are unsaved changes to go. Sage, I have to flip this green. Now I flip this green and I'll say okay. Now I'll change its ratio as well. My videos ratio. It's very. I'm really sorry for this kind of disturbance, but it's okay. There is no one watching, but whoever is watching after ending this live streaming, they could notice it, but they can forward it, tick 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 tick, forward, and then it will work like that way. So that is what I was explaining you all related to the things that I'm experiencing and the things that I love to do. Likewise, as well, this is very black, isn't? Oh, I'm telling. It is just getting black. Just why I notice it, because I'm not looking good. I can see myself, which is not looking good. But I nowadays really care about my things that I have to complete. That okay, yeah. Right now I'm not looking good, but I'll work on myself and I'll make myself good too as well, because everything changes. So I'm gonna change myself. So for now I don't think about it much. I have to just think that, oh, I have to try on the things. I have to read every day for 3 hours. I have to do live streaming for 2 hours. After that, if I am very comfortable doing this every day, then I'll take another challenge. Let's say uh, having good body. I'll exercise much and much more, as well as after that, I'll try to figure out the things related to my face. It's good, it's looking good as well, but I have to look very good as well. That this is how everything works. So yeah, this is how not this is how. But the thing is that yeah, if you are going to work on the things, then definitely those things will get improved after a certain period of time that you spend on that. Yeah, this is how this works. Right and left. Adrian. Happiest would remark that he didn't know exactly what meant, but he felt that his wife deserved to have a better companion. Okay. Adrian's comment reinforced my impression that while Stewart had become more remote since her pneumonia, he had always been emotionally distant. But something had happened to me when Adrian was hospitalized. Something that had hit him in a way he couldn't or wouldn't discuss. He seemed to Adrian to have lost interest in their life together. He had always been emotionally distant, but something had happened to him when Adrian was hospitalized. Something that had hit him in a way he couldn't or wouldn't discuss. He seemed to Adrian to have lost interest in the life together, actively withdrawing to his world of history books and law journals. She said that she hoped the therapy could make him happier. Stewart remarked that he didn't know exactly what that meant, but he felt that his wife deserved to have a better companion in their retirement. He agreed to continue therapy for 3 or 4 months, 3 months, to see what he and I could do together, right and left. Perhaps it was being raised by the coldest people on earth that had resulted in a Stuart's underlying rigidity. Perhaps it was the genes he inherited, or perhaps there was some still unknown factor we didn't have to know for sure to intervene. That's the beauty of the integrative approach. Now we can move the system toward a phases flow by focusing on 3 points of the triangle of well-being, mind, brain, and relationship. The basic questions: what is going on now? What can be done to promote differentiation and linkage? To understand Stewart, let's explore how the left and right sides of the brain present us with a quite different way of perceiving reality and communicating with one another. These differences from the neural underpinnings for the kind of response Stewart had given during our developmental interview. In those with a cold, emotionally empty childhood, one side of the brain often seems to be understimulated while the other becomes excessively dominant. Stewart's style of narrating facts without autobiographical detail and his lifelong engagement in a professional life that required a highly logical intellectual work but little in the way of connecting with people emotionally strongly suggested that he had a dominant left brain and an underdeveloped right brain. The left and right brain are in the news these days, and I even hear them being discussed as social gatherings, at least at the parties I attend. But it's easy to oversimplify the difference. So let's take a closer look. From the beginning of life, we communicate with one another in the non-verbal realm. We send and receive signals through our facial expressions, tone of voice, postures, gestures, and timing and intensity of response. When we were babies, non-verbal signals were our lifeline, the only way we could convey our needs and wants. We cried, we reflected, felt. I'm not able to pronounce it.
flailed, flailed,
Flailed. We flailed our arms and legs. We frowned or turned away when we were hungry, scared, in pain or lonely. We smiled,
cooed,
cooed. We smiled, cooed, and snuggled into our comforting caregiver. If we felt safe, but secure and well fed, and as our caregiver responded to our signals, we were linked together by these non-verbal patterns of energy and information. And this is how Leon,
Leanne,
Leanne, this is how Leanne felt by Barbara before her accident. Now, this is how many of us become a we with our parents. Now, these non-verbal signals are both created and perceived by the right side of the brain. And neuroscientists have found that the right hemisphere is the more developed and more active during the first years of life. It was the scarcity of such non-verbal signal that I noticed in my first few sessions with Stewart. Here was a bright, articulate, accomplished professional, but he seemed to lack these fundamental textures of conversational life. Of course, we also connect with one another through words such as those you are reading at this moment or those Stewart deployed so skillfully in his career. Words become much more important after the early years, and this is when the left hemisphere becomes more active. And throughout our childhood and adolescence, the right and left hemisphere go through cyclical phases of growth and development. The right hemisphere is more directly connected to the subcortical areas of the brain. Information flows from body to brainstem to limbic areas to right cortex. The left hemisphere is more removed from these raw subcortical sources, from our physical sensation, our brainstem, survival reactions, and our limbic feelings and judgments. Because of this development, history, and anatomical configuration, our right hemisphere gives us a more direct sense of the whole body, our waves and tides of emotions, and the picture of lived experience that make up our autobiographical memory. The right brain is the seat of our emotional and social selves. We create images of our own mind and that of others using right cortical real estate. The right side now also has a greater role in coping with stress and regulating the activity of subcortical region. But these are not absolute distinctions. Normal life views these right dominant activities into the equally important but different left dominant information flow. Even to communicate these ideas, I need to use my more conceptual fact based analytical left side, and you need to use yours to understand them. The left hemisphere, being less directly influenced by the subcortical happenings below, it lies in a kind of ivory tower of ideas and rational thought compared with its more visceral and emotional right hemisphere counterpart. But the two spheres do communicate. Now, these right left cortical neighbors are linked by the corpus callosum, a band of neurons deep in the brain that enables energy and information to be sent back and forth between them. Considered in isolation, these different patterns of energy and information flow enable us to have something like two minds that can operate or compete. Now we'll call these right and left modes. When the two hemispheres collaborate, we achieve bilateral or horizontal integration. Your left hemisphere loves linear, linguistic, logical, and literal communication. Also, a list maker. The left loves to label things. It specializes in syllogistic.
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 It specializes in syllogistic reasoning using chain of logic and identifying cause-effect relationship. We know that the left hemisphere is coming online when 2 and 3 year old children start asking why. Here is a thumbnail sketch of each mode. Left, later developing linguistic, logical, literal labels and lists. Right, yearly developing holistic, non-verbal images, metaphors, all body sense, raw emotions, stress reduction, and autobiographical memory. Another way of thinking about the two modes is that the left is more digital with an on off, up down, right or wrong categorization of information, while the right is more analogic. The brain anatomy reveals a possible reason for these differences in the contrasting microarchitecture of the two regions. The right mode creates an ant stance, now while the left creates an or point of view. Using my right mode, I see a world full of interconnecting possibilities. These and again my light. It's very disturbing. Sometimes it's very disturbing, but it's okay. It's set up now. Your left hemisphere loves linear, linguistic, logical, and a literal communication. Also a list maker, the left loves to label things. It specializes in syllogistic reasoning, using lens of logic and identifying cause effect relationships. Now we know that the left hemisphere is coming online when 2 and 3 year old children starts asking why. Here is a thumbnail sketch of each mode. Left, later developing linear, linguistic, logical, and literal labels and list. Right, early developing holistic, non-verbal images, metaphors, whole body sense, raw emotion, stress reduction, and autobiographical memory. Now, another way of thinking about the two modes is that the left is more digital, with an off, up down, right wrong categorization of information, while the right is more analogic. Brain anatomy reveals a possible reason for these differences in the contrasting microarchitecture of the two regions. The right mode creates an and stance, while the left creates an or point of view. Using my right mode, I see a world full of interconnecting possibilities. These and can be true. And together, wow, they could make something new. Using my left mode, I see a world more divided. Is this or that true? For the left, only one view can accurately reflect reality. And when I am looking at the world through my left mode or lens, I have no sense that I am choosing to see the world this way. It is the way, and other way, the right mode. Well, it is just plain wrong. I have worked with couples where one person is dominant in the left mode and the other dominant in the right mode. Person A says that he feels sad. Person B responds, "You are nuts. There is nothing to be sad about." Looks perplexed but cannot speak. B seems to feel she's on. Now, what kind of game is that? Sad, disconnected, certainly not integrated. A lose-lose situation. I guess I don't think that my power will come back. Power or electricity, whatever we call. I heard this word in my meetings, like the power from one of native speaker or native person. Sorry for my like background and all those things. I'm just thinking that my light is came back again. Then I have to like pick and to do here and there. But the thing is that we have to read, and I'm gonna read that. You might be wondering if having two powerful but quite distinct neural processes in our heads, we must inevitably be at war within ourselves, as well as with people who have a mode dominance that is different from ours. As in the couple described above, sometimes we are when when one mode dominates the other for long periods, rigidity and or chaos result. This is how Stuart felt to me in the office, rigid and disconnected. There are many reasons that someone right grow up leaning to the left. What if our need to be close to others, to share our non-verbal signals, to feel seen and safe, is not made by a caring, connecting, communicating other? Or even worse, what if those early interactions are terrifying? How can we live with that sense of uncertainty if we are living in an emotional desert, or are being tossed about by violent storms? Our right hemisphere may shrivel in response, retreating to a more left dominant mode puts our awareness in a safer place. It is one common and adaptive strategy to survive, but there are better ways, and I was hoping I could help Stuart discover them. Was starting therapy with a 92-year-old like trying to teach an old dog new tricks? If Stuart's right mode neural circuits had been dormant for decades, for nearly a century, could we stimulate them to become active? Whether this dormancy was from experience, genetics, chance, or all three, was there a way to change his present neural functioning? And if we activate these circuits, could we actually expect them to make new synaptic connections or to even grow new integrative neurons? The science of neuroplasticity, together with the clinical work in a neural rehabilitation, suggested that yes, it might be possible. And this is what I told Stuart. I drew a picture of the brain and told Stuart about the left and right side. Our goal, I said, was to help him develop a more balanced whole brain, to add new right hemisphere abilities and reinforce his already well developed left side. Then I introduced one of my acronyms, SNAG, for stimulate neural activation and growth. I said we could SNAG, stimulate neural activation and growth brain to create and strengthen neural connections. Whenever neural firing occurs, existing neurons can make new or enhanced synaptic connections through the process called synaptogenesis. New neurons can be stimulated to develop as well, a process called neurogenesis. I also explained how the myelin can thicken, which increase the electrical conduction among interconnected neurons. And as I had told Jonathan, among the keys to neural growth are novelty, attention, and aerobic exercise. Stewart liked the S and AG acronym, and I was happy his left mode seemed to appreciate the word play. Now my throat is getting dried up, I don't know why. Focus toward attention to SNAG. Short of using an electrical probe, how can we strategically larget a particular portion of the brain? The answer is attention. When we focus repeatedly on a specific skill, the moment-to-moment neural activity can gradually become an established trait through the power of neuroplasticity. First, we would use the focus of towards attention to SNAG, his right hemisphere, and we would do this by working on skills that would help enhance differentiation by stimulating growth of that region. The work on linkage of the right onto the left would follow. I wanted to be sure Stuart's left mode was game for this process. I talked about what we were doing as skill building, and I told him about research on how the brain changes in learning to play a musical instrument. If the instrument is a violin, as I mentioned earlier, studies have demonstrated that attention to those intricate left hand fingerings will build the part of the cortex that regulates the sensation and motor control of the left hand. Those areas will be much larger than the areas regulating the right hand, which is using the bow in less subtle ways. I then told Stuart that he and I could focus his attention in specific ways to allow his right hemisphere to become better developed. We simply needed to give ourselves the biological time necessary to enable these new synapses and neurons to grow and to become part of a newly integrated system. I'm just taking the time, how much time it was. Developing the right. Now, Stewart was attracted to the logical and scientific discussion of the brain that I shared with him as a part of our treatment plan. Nothing I said put him in the wrong. I emphasized how the brain responds to experience early in life, how we adapt and do the best we can and throughout the lifespan. Whatever the factor involved, he could now change if he wanted to through experientially induced development. The final point I made was that we were not trying to change who he was, but to expand his potential by nurturing an underdeveloped set of circuits in his brain. I hoped that framing our work in this way would give Stewart enough of a feeling of safety about the ultimate goal of the work, which was to open himself up to emotion and allow himself to become vulnerable, that he would be willing to dive in. As the session ended, Stewart paused for a moment and reminded me of how he had felt nothing when Adrienne, I don't know why I'm not able to pronounce this particular word. Like I'm getting forget.
Adrian.
Adrian, see, Adrian, Adrian, and his law partner had gotten sick. There is one more thing that I have spoken. I have spoken a negative word that I don't know why I'm not getting this word. Like this kind of negative word. I'll try to read this as possible as correct. Like Adrian, Adrian, again Adrian. This is how my brain will listen to me and it will make correct next time.
Adrian.
Adrian and his law partner had gotten sick. He then said something I'll never forget. I know people say they feel these or feel that, but in my life, I basically feel nothing. I really don't know what people are talking about. I would like to know before I die. I knew then that he and I could work together to revive his brain. Both of us seemed up for the task. Since Stewart himself had admitted his feelings were inaccessible, we began with something more tangible, the body. To tap into his somatic sense, I led him in the kind of body scan I had done with Jonathan, starting with the right foot and moving up the leg. Or you may recall from the brain in the palm of your hand that the right side of the body is represented in the left hemisphere and vice versa. In fact, an image of the whole body is mapped only in the right, but I wanted to start on the side of the brain where Stewart would feel most competent. After he had successfully focused his attention on the right side, we did the same scan for the left leg. It turned out that he could locate sensation on either side without a problem. This suggested that the basic neural circuitry connecting one side of the body to the opposite side of the brain was intact. But when I asked Stewart to place the sensation of both legs simultaneously in the front of his mind, he felt faltered. I can't really see it. It's like shimmering object. First I see one side, then the other. So basic functioning was intact on both sides, but he could not integrate the two sides simultaneously within his awareness. We worked on this ability throughout the remainder of the full body scan. As I repeatedly asked him to focus his attention on first one, then the other, then both sides at once. When I turned the scan inward and asked Stewart to sense his body's organs, he had an even harder time. Research suggests that uh, inter introception
Interception.
uh, Introception, our perception of our internal bodily state is mediated primarily via the right brain. As I discussed in writing the resonance circuits, we pass the signals of our body's interior and also of our limbic states and through the conduit called the insula up into the right middle prefrontal region of the brain. I couldn't tell whether Stewart's difficulty with interception was due to the lack of development of the resonance circuitry or to lack of linkage with his left side linguistic and centers, which would be needed to translate such interoception into words. Whichever the cause, like any skill, for focusing his mind on this sensation would become easier with repeated practice, and didn't want to let him get too frustrated. It was time to move on to another aspect of the right mode, non-verbal connection. We first developed relationship during Our early years, when our right hemisphere is dominant in both growth and activity. Perhaps this one reason the right mode specializes in close relationship throughout our lives. The right side also specializes in self-soothing. Babies use their left hand, controlled by the right brain, for comforting, whereas the right tends to move out to explore the world. The brain imaging has revealed as well that left prefrontal activation appears to be associated with an approach state in which we seek out and open ourselves to new experiences. The right frontal activation, on the other hand, is associated with withdrawal or turning inward, away from novelty. Interestingly, social display rules, the codes that tell us how we are supposed to act in groups, are a left mode specialty. So overall, the left seems more outwardly focused, while the right is an interior specialist exploring our own and others' internal worlds. Now, this could help explain why Stewart thrived in settings such as the court and conference room, but faltered when it came to more intimate relationships. So as I have read lots of things today, like I get all of those because like I guess something is happening, something is growing in me. I'm personally feeling it because when I'm reading, the most of the things I'm getting as it is. As today I was thinking most of the things related to like whatever is going like around me, my surrounding, in my background. Like as you know that right away you can hear the background noise, even though like I'm not getting distracted of them. I'm literally focusing on the things that I am reading. This is how it is working. This is how it is working in the sense like I'm able to focus more on the reading. And why it is happening, because I made myself convinced, I made my brain convinced that there are things that is going to be continued, but the thing is that what I have to do is only related to reading and concentrate on that. Whatever the things is going behind the scene, it doesn't matter, it will always be going because it's a family and the thing will happen like that you don't make people to stop because it's kind of household works that they are not gonna stop this because right now I'm not like that much grown or YouTube or any other places that I can make the place where I can be only me and do the things. I will do that later on. Like I'm thinking to do one of the things, but let's see how YouTube grows. If it didn't grow, I have to do some other things, but I would suggest not to tell that if it didn't grow because as I have already said lots of times that I don't have to say any negative words, any negative things that it will not work or it will like something like that. But what I'm trying to say here is that the thing will work after a certain period of time and it will be like okay, everything will be fine. Now why I'm telling all those things because like it's been 6 days now. I have almost completed my sixth day as well, and it is just making me feel like yeah, if you are going to do the things again and again, if you try to find out the things, if you try to work on it, then definitely after a certain period of time whatever you wanted to achieve or whatever your goal, basic goal, and if you have already told yourself that you have to do this after a certain period of time, you are gonna get this, then brain, our subconscious mind, our brain will work on that and will try to figure out the ways in itself and will achieve that automatically if you trying doing the things. Like right now I'm reading here, people are outside. Earlier I was not able to speak when people are around because I was feeling like it's kind of thing that I won't be able to do, or it's kind of like what they are gonna think, like what I'm trying to do or what I am doing right now, why he's doing such things. Instead of focusing on his work, there are lots of things that was coming into my mind. Now also I some of the time the thoughts likewise comes into my mind, but I'm not focusing on that as we are already reading that we have to separate our thoughts from ourselves. Like let's say if I'm getting some negative thoughts, then I can like separate the thoughts, I can see them as another person and make myself think like that it is just a thought. I can label it so that I can more be aware of those and make myself whatever I am doing. So that is how I can like make the things working. So basically what I'm trying to say here is, earlier I was able to like concentrate on another things, but right now like I can say able, see how the thing is getting like going. How I was able to concentrate on other things, but right now I'm completely focusing on the things that I'm doing right now. So here I like avoid um, negative things, not a negative things, negative thing in the sense I avoid one thing here is related to like positive and negative. I was saying that I was able to focus on other things, but right now I'm focusing on this. I was not saying I was getting distracted. This is itself in negative word. Like if you are going to say yourself you are getting distracted, then definitely your brain will listen it, and if it listens it will make you to do that again and again. So instead of that saying, I said that I was able to focus on other things. I was like getting distracted in the sense, but I like my brain, I don't know how that word came out of my like mind. Like I was able to focus on other things, but right now I am completely focusing on this thing only, like whatever I'm reading right away. So the basic thing is that if you said your brain that you have to work on the things related to uh, sometimes like it's very difficult because like people will come and go. She was my mother, so she came and put something and went out. She was not known about it. She was known about it, but I don't know how she came. Might be she like felt that she shouldn't come, but she has to put something and she put it and went again out. So this is how like the things works. People will come and go. Like it's kind of like this is how it will work. After a certain period of time, when I'll get the things, when I'm used to it, then people will get to know that I'm doing something, and I'll have some restrictions as well. I will let them know that they don't have to come in and go back. So the thing is like that, but you don't have to distract yourself. You don't have to focus on other things. You have to focus on the things that you are actively working on. This is how the things will work. This is how you are going to work. This is how like you'll be able to focus on the things that matters for you, and the things that don't matter for you, you won't care much about those. You will only be caring about the things that you are working on. So this is how it works actually. So this is very interesting that we are about to end our live streaming, which is 6 day of reading challenge for 91 days. And whenever I see my YouTube channel and go there and see these first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, and sixth day, it makes me feel good, makes me feel good about myself. And whatever I talked about the things in live streaming, my brain is listening to those. It is making me to grow again and again every day better than yesterday by 1%, 2%, or whatever percent it is. But the simple thing is that it's making me grow every day. That is how it is working. It's very interesting that I'm still like trying to do the things. Whoa, I don't know. Like right now, what happened? Let me tell you one thing. Here, I'm just seeing the timing, like 1 hour or 59 minutes, and I'm just thinking that it's getting 2 hours, then I'll complete it. That is, I was able to like. I was just trying to say the things, different things, but the way, not the way. What I'm trying to say here is that our brain try to do sometime the things, like to achieve the things. But if you said your brain that we have to do this in a very clear way, you'll experience that it will do the same way. It will those thing only, because I'm literally experiencing this nowadays. That is why I'm suggesting it. Try doing it. Try saying the things that you wanted to do. Try it saying loudly. Try it saying in publicly. Then if you believe on it, then definitely after a certain period of time that thing you'll be able to see in you, you'll be able to see in your things, things in the sense in your life. There are some of the things that I don't say correctly, because sometimes what happens when I'm speaking at the time my brain is focusing on other things as well sometimes, and just because of that what happens I say some other things as well. So sorry for that kind of things, and that's it for today. So it was very nice live streaming. No one was joined. I guess there were three people joined. I don't know if they are the same people or not. But yeah, that's awesome today that I have completed my sixth day as well. I'm very grateful for this as well. So thank you very much whoever watching it, and